You are listening to the TN Horror Podcast Network. Horror with a sense of humor.
Hi, I'm Bill Mosley, and you're in the horror basement. Lick my plate, you dog bitch.
Welcome to the Horror Basement, the TN Horror News Podcast, coming to you from the TN Horror News studio in the basement of my mom's trailer. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Jonny, and we have our local horror experts here with us, JimJam.
JimJam here.
And Yeti, the movie raccoon.
Hey.
You fucking trash panda.
And we are serving up horror with a sense of humor all over the world. That's what we do.
Oh, yeah.
And on today's podcast, we'll be talking about news. I got a movie idea. It's fucking gold. Anyone can have it. I'm giving it for free.
No question of the week?
No, I don't think I have a question of the week. And we have a Seth Breedlove interview. And if you want to fast forward, Seth Breedlove was like 32 minutes. So
It's a 32-minute interview.
Yeah,
It's not 32 minutes in.
But it was a 32-minute interview, so the last 32 minutes will be him, maybe, or we could put this at the end of that, because I'm not trying to insult him with my movie idea. Not trying to insult him with my movie idea, but it was a good interview, and if you haven't seen Terror in the Skies, go watch it.
That was a really good talk.
And we have a good reason why Yeti wasn't on the interview.
Yeah, because we can't take phone calls. So.
No.
But the question of the week would have been, when's the last time you've had a sucker from a bank? A bank sucker. When's the last time you've had a bank sucker?
Probably a few years.
But I've gotten some recently, but they were for my kid.
Okay, well, I went to the bank the other week. I cashed in some change because I'm poor, which I made almost $100 on my change. So
You had $100 in change?
$96.
Shit, I get like a pocket full, and I'm
No.
buying everything out the damn vending machine.
Nope. And but I grabbed some suckers, and I had blue, because blue is not that's the flavor, I guess, right?
Blue is the flavor?
I mean, well, I guess it should have been blue raspberry, but there's no such thing as blue raspberry, so I had blue, and it was fucking good. Really good. So that's my sucker story. You let me know when the last time you've had a sucker like that. Not your special loved one either. It's not the type of sucker I'm talking about. But anyways, so before we get to news, I have got a movie idea, and this is not the working title.
It is the title?
No, I mean, this is not, this is like this could be like, how they do titles for movies, but it's not the real title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the working title.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, my bad. My bad. Turning my microphone down. Yeah, turning her down. Yeah, it's peeking out. But yeah, so it's Bigfoot Cock Smasher. So then I guess the working title is Bigfoot Cock Smasher or whatever. The production title, I don't know what you call it.
So is this pretty much going to be Bigfoot as the Incredible Hulk?
No.
Oh.
This is what it is, guys. Okay. And this is just the start of it. But there's a group of guys, and they want a bigger penis. Like, like the gypsy rolls through town, and she advertises, right? And so they're like, oh, let's go do it. They're fucked up. They go do it. But what they didn't know was that when they drank this mix, it had a little bit of bone dust in it from a haunted Bigfoot.
Haunted Bigfoot?
Like a Bigfoot ghost or whatever. I don't know. Like a,
All right.
Ghost Bigfoot. And, the evil spirit Bigfoot, because...
We got to do a Ghost Bigfoot movie.
And
we talk about it too much.
But it's a lady Bigfoot, and she's vengeful. Yeah, that's where the cock smashing comes in.
How long have you been thinking about this?
Now,
I thought about it last week. That was it. So I didn't.
So they get giant cocks from the gypsy juice,
I mean,
and then the Bigfoot comes and smashes it.
yeah, because I got a backstory for this. I do have a backstory. It would be like a one of them dream things. But yeah, so she comes tiptoeing in the house. It's a horror comedy, okay?
Yeah.
And And the only way that you know it's a girl is because...
There's no way you can make this a serious movie.
No. The only way that you know that it's a girl is because she got lipstick on and a bow in her hair.
Don't have no boobs?
No, it's just Bigfoot. And I don't know.
What the fuck? Bigfoot don't have boobs?
No, not this big. We can't afford boobs, okay?
All right.
And what was that? The hairy monster? What was that thing?
Oh, the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, what was that? Was it the hairy monster or?
Yeah.
Well, that's my nod to the hairy monster, where it just has lipstick and a bow. That's how you know it's a girl. So it's tiptoeing in, just like Looney Tunes. You know, it's big ass fucking hairy, Bigfoot, and she goes to the room, and she starts under the covers.
She jerking them?
Yeah, with her soft, furry hands. and you see it rise up, and it's bigger than normal, and then smash.
Clipped on that one.
And smash the penis. But yeah, and the only way that you can get rid of this curse, it's a curse, is from either sleeping with her, because you got a giant Bigfoot cock now, or you pass it on to someone else. You have to tell them. You have to be a dick friend. And this is the thing. You have to be a total dick friend, because either you got a big dick or you're a dick. Right?
Well, how do you give them the damn big...
Well, you have them go, and then it passes it along.
So if it just sneaks up on you, I mean, is there like a moment of where she gives you the option? She's just like...
Well, I think you might have... I mean, this is a working story. I mean, we could work that out. Yeah. Like, either you figure that out, like, there's some literature, like, you go look up the history, like, Craig and Jeff... They got their dicks smashed, and and
I'm sure
Yeti and JimJam is looking up the history of this gypsy,
So are you saying me and Yeti want some Bigfoot?
No, I
would.
This is the thing: either you smash her in her lady gash, or you pass it on to your friend.
Oh man, Craig's gonna love this shout out.
Smash her in her Bigfoot gash.
So.
Go ahead.
I would, but I mean, it's a small price to pay.
Oh no, it's ruined. Once it's smashed, it's over, Yeti.
Well, no, I'm saying though, but if you like.
Well, no. There's a twist. See, and I don't know if I want to give up the twist ending.
But, hey,
if you smash
so there's
her,
no way to win.
There is. You got to be a dick and pass it on to your friends, and then you have a little dick. But you just have to live with having a little dick. See, this is like the vanity thing. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Oh, so the moral of the story is.
It's not about how big your dick is. It's about how good you are an individual. But here's the thing. My twist ending would be, you smash your fucking Bigfoot gash, you lose your dick. It dies. Because she's a fucking vengeful spirit. You can't fuck a vengeful spirit and expect your dick to fucking stay on.
Yeah, your point.
Right?
Damn, I was all thinking like...
You was all thinking, I'm going to fuck a Bigfoot.
I was, because I mean...
I'll fucking... Go ahead, fuck. Why not?
I mean, for a little package enlargement, I'd bang a Bigfoot.
But now that you said the twist... Now that you say the twist...
Perfect fucking twist.
I'll just go with a little dick.
And here's the backstory for the gypsy and the Bigfoot. So, when the settlers come in, they just thought she was a native, right? Because, she's just hairy. Well, they raped her and then realized it was a Bigfoot, so they killed her.
They didn't realize. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, come on, dude. They've never been here. Okay.
And they're dumb.
They're dumb. They're dumb settlers.
Okay. Is this movie going to show a Bigfoot getting raped?
Well, off camera. And the 4 guys that have taken the potion would be the 4 guys that were the settlers.
Oh, okay.
That's how you.
This is a revenge movie.
Well, I'm just saying that's how it would look, because it's a comedy. Because you have to use the same people you got. Like, you can't fucking have new people. And
I think we need to tighten this up, write a script, and send it to Uncle Lloydie.
Yeah, and then the gypsy finds out about this because it's like folklore. And she finds the bones, and she grinds them up and does the spell.
On purpose.
Because she hates men.
I got Lloyd's phone number
never
right
trusted.
now.
The real moral of the story is you can
sitting
never
this
trust a
way.
goddamn gypsy.
No, see, we got all the hate in there. Okay, that's just. I mean, if anybody wants that idea, you can have it. That's your fucking C or D movie. It's fucking funny
I
though.
tell you what, though,
Because
I
you'll
would
see
much
a D.
rather watch. I would much rather watch Bigfoot Cock Smasher than a movie produced by Blumhouse about a fucking magic 8-ball.
Oh yeah, there's the news.
Oh, look at that!
Segway.
Oh, fucking winning segue right there.
Yeah.
I've been sitting on that
Yeti
one.
will get applause in post.
Fuck yeah. So Mattel Films, which I didn't even know was a thing, and
I didn't either.
Blumhouse, the production company that makes actual movies, is putting together a film about the Magic 8-Ball. I guess since they did the Ouija movies, I really enjoyed not so much the first one, but the sequel, the one that came out a couple of years ago. That was really fucking good. I liked it a bunch. and they had the Truth or Dare movie that I didn't really care for. I kind of liked the ending of it, but I didn't care for the movie as a whole. But it was, Truth or Dare and the Ouija board and then the Magic 8-Ball. So I guess they're going to go through, and I think they have one called Seven in Heaven, which I assume is about the 7 minutes in heaven game.
Light as a feather, thin as a board.
Yeah. So I guess they're doing Magic 8-Ball now. I don't know how the fuck you're gonna make that spooky, but I think the next one will probably be like Hungry Hungry Hippos or Shoots and Ladders or something.
I think that's Hasbro.
I mean,
No, I don't know. Just checking.
at this point, man, look, the Paranormal Activity, The Purge. I mean, I think they're dog shit. You know what I'm saying? But like Blumhouse has put out some heavy hitters as far as horror movies go. And I mean, you got the 2018 Halloween movie, which was, pretty decent. And then, like I said, the Ouija movie, and they had a few others that were serviceable,
Hey,
But now they've come to this.
Unfriended Dark Web was actually really good.
Oh, yeah, well.
I don't understand how you would do the fucking 8-Ball movie.
I never thought that the 8-Ball was a horror thing.
Well, it's not.
It's like
just...
I don't know, magic. Well, it is Magic 8-Ball.
So I guess Blumhouse is going to make it
Almost
scary.
like a fate thing. Like, what's your fate?
Maybe. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it
I
never
feel
has
like
the same
Blumhouse-
words.
Well,
Yeah.
is this
I feel like they're starting to market to like teeny boppers or whatever, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? It's fine. You want to get younger PG-13 crowd. You want to get them primed. You know what I'm saying? That's cool, but fuck, dude.
Is,
Hey,
the,
but
is
also
the Magic 8-Ball even a thing anymore?
I don't
Well,
think
it's
so.
going to be now.
Yeah.
I mean, they still make them. I mean, granted, they've always made them.
This
correct?
is probably just for the what's the Mattel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
This is
they
them
get some
to-
money.
Yeah, that's just to sell a damn 8-Ball.
It's a soulless reptilian cash grab, and I mean, the one thing I've always missed in horror movies is product placement. I've always thought to myself,
you're right.
man, this movie was
Where's
really
the fucking
good,
Pepsi can?
We
but
almost
yeah. Where's the product placement? Where's the?
we almost had one last weekend on Deadlines. Johnny secretly hung up a Tennessee Horror News shirt in the background.
I tried to get it
Got him.
somewhere.
Oh, George caught it.
Yeah, I can see the shirt. I can see the shirt. That's my George Emmett.
You should
fucking voice.
have done.
Oh,
You should have
sure.
told George. You should have been like, well, that was the idea.
Yeah, duh.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess
Danny,
it's not.
So yeah, that's where we're at as a society now.
Hey,
That's
next
happening.
thing you know, there's gonna be a horror movie about Bop It.
Hey! Wanna play Bop It? It commands you obey. Bop it. Twist it. Tap it. If you can't keep up, twist it. You lose.
And I
Oh,
saw.
you gotta twist it and fucking pull it and bop it, otherwise you fucking die.
Here's what I think. Like, how you hear throughout history, you hear about a studio putting out one big flop that just kills the studio.
Is this Blumhouse's flop?
I think that would be.
What happened was, in 2016 or 2015, Blumhouse helped produce that horrible, steaming pile of dog shit that was the Martyrs remake. Yeah, we're coming full circle to this, guys. And it was so fucking terrible. Like, it's universally panned, it's universally hated. It was just, it was scum between my toes. I hate it stinking guts. And I think that Jason Blum had to sell his soul to the devil in order to keep Blumhouse afloat after putting out that horrendous piece of shit. And now, this is what Satan wants him to do.
Well, I mean, you got to attract the kids. You got to get them in somehow.
Yeah, hail Satan.
Hey,
yeah, I mean, somehow.
What about another one? A movie about the board game Mousetrap.
No. What's that? Skip It?
Skip it. Come on, everybody, skip it. Roaring good fun.
Where you put the where you put the thing on your ankle and it has like a ball or something.
Yeah, just a string of people with broken ankles.
Well, no, it's a razor wire and it chops your fucking ankle off if you don't get it. You'd really be skipping it. Or you'd be hopping it. You'd be hopping everywhere you fucking go.
Let's see what other games there was that can be completely ridiculous movie.
Well, I think what would be cool is like a Monopoly horror movie.
What, like a death game?
Yeah, Death Monopoly.
If you land on someone...
What it is, it's just a regular game of Monopoly, but there's like a fucking gas that comes into the room that makes people not control their rage, and they just end up killing each other.
So, maybe like a Mayhem or a something?
Well, the problem with Monopoly is people don't play it right, so... Yeah.
Have you ever finished a game of Monopoly? I have never finished.
No, because everyone plays they don't when you land on it, you put it up for auction, and whoever bids the most is how you should play it. Like somebody lands on this, they can't buy it, put it up for auction. What do you bid? So every fucking thing gets sold really quick.
Oh.
Yeah, but most people don't play it right. So you've fucking been playing Monopoly wrong, bitches.
That's the right way to play it.
Yeah, I mean that's the quicker way to play it.
Oh.
Just put it up for auction. I'll give you 10. I'll give you 20. You know what I'm saying? But granted, whoever has the most money is going to win eventually because, Monopoly. Yeah. So, but you all start out with the same. So, Yep. So,
Vince McMahon thought he had Monopoly.
We're not talking about wrestling. So, my news is this. I don't know if anybody's heard about this film. Am I pronouncing it right? Midsummer.
Yeah,
Midsummer.
Yeah, it's midsummer, but it's like.
Is it?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night.
It's got a O. I don't think.
Yeah, it's like a maybe German or something.
But yeah, so Ari Aster, is that how you pronounce the name? Or is it
Ari Aster?
Ari Aster.
Yeah.
So apparently Jordan Peele watched this movie and said it's fucking fantastic. I don't know if he's a little biased, but he could be.
I mean, it looks really fucking good. Like I saw the trailer on a whim, like on accident. It was a fucking YouTube ad, and I saw it, and it just I got excited about the movie. I liked Hereditary, so.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anything about it, and someone from work sent it to me, and I was like, "Why is this not in the fucking news more? Like, why isn't this popping up?" And then Jordan Peele says something about it, and it comes out July the 3rd in theaters. It's like I haven't hardly seen any. Like even going to the movies, you haven't seen an ad for it, So it's not really gotten a whole lot of push.
I don't think like Hereditary. It's not going to be for everybody.
But it's about a pagan cult, so
yeah.
I think I'm kind of down with that, Oh, I remember that kid. It's got Will Poulter. And if you've seen him, you'd recognize him from movies, but you'd never know his name. But yeah, I'm interested. I mean, he said that it's like, I don't know, like the ideal horror movie. I'm kind of looking forward to Midsummer.
I am too. Definitely.
JimJam,
it's going to be a fun ride.
What's your news story?
Hey, I got a Jaws poster for Father's Day.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, and they fucked it up and it got wrinkled. So I put I wanted a refund, so they said just keep the poster and gave me a refund. So got it for free.
Cool.
So now what are you getting?
Nothing, just the money back.
Oh, they didn't buy you nothing new?
I don't need nothing. They got it for the poster.
Well, I was
Good
just
enough.
saying,
That's good customer service from whatever company that was.
Yeah, well, I guess they can buy me the poster frame now.
Yeah.
They can use that $10 to buy the poster
The
frame.
fucking poster frame's probably more than the fucking poster.
No, it's the
Poster
one
frames
like
are
that.
fucking expensive.
Well, the one like this one is only like $9.
Yeah, that's the real cheap one.
That's all I'm getting. I'm not gonna get a thick one. Hell, only reason they don't make the cheap ones and the big ones. You got to buy the $30 ones for the big ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, thanks a lot, Azon, without the M.
I was
right?
like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Amazon. They did wrinkle it, though. I will agree. So, yeah. They should have gave you money back.
Keep on going because I'm thinking there might have been something that stood out.
There's other news out there, I'm
Oh,
sure.
Swamp Thing got canceled after one episode.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, one episode.
That was my news a couple weeks ago. Which, I mean, who's going to fucking buy the DC fucking streaming service
Yeah.
to watch Swamp
That's
Thing?
fucking crazy. One episode and fucking it's done.
No, they're probably like, well, this ain't bringing no
Surely,
one.
surely they got more episodes.
There must have been something else into it. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's because the production costs were so high.
Were they not
that they
filming in
couldn't-
Georgia?
I don't know, but it was something about. Oh, okay, I remember what it was. I think they were filming in Georgia, and they get a grant to offset the cost of production. And they had filmed 10 episodes for the first season. And when they redid their grant paperwork, they fucked it up. So they would have to eat production costs on season 2. They couldn't fade the amount of money that they were going to have to put into the series without that grant, so they just canceled it.
So they're not even going to put the rest of the episodes up?
Yeah, I think they're going to air the rest of the season, but they're canceling it then.
Well,
Wow.
maybe someone will want to back it after they see the 10 episodes and be like, oh,
Yeah, I've heard nothing but positive things about it online.
I'm not going to get the DC network for it. I can,
No,
but maybe it'll come out somewhere where
It was filmed in North Carolina.
there was a grant though. So
Is there swamps in North Carolina?
Yeah, they were approved for
Yeah.
$16.9 million, but $4.9 million for the Swamp Thing pilot, in addition to $12 million for the rest of the season.
Took $4 million for one episode, and then they're going
Star
to have to...
News reported that the season's budget was around $85 million.
So what studio put it out? Was it, I guess, DC?
Yeah.
So
It was Warner Brothers.
oh,
Them fuckers got money. What the fuck?
$85 million though.
Well, hell.
it's a lot to gamble on a streaming service that nobody's going to fucking buy.
Now, if it was on Netflix or something like that, then it'd probably been had 5 seasons or more.
Yeah.
But DC want to be dumb, and hell, they can't even make a decent damn movie, let alone damn have a fucking service. Fucking idiots. They should just let Disney buy them out.
Fuck no.
That,
I mean,
Speaking of monopoly, right?
yeah, no shit.
Disney is a big monopoly.
that is crazy though, and that it had like 92% on like rating on this show. Like everyone was fucking excited about it.
And
Everyone on
DC
set
was
like,
putting, they was putting them out weekly, wasn't they? Because you can't just like get it for get the free 7 days.
my thing is they should have just come to the fucking CW. Like Arrow's going off.
Oh, my wife's pissed. CW's not on DirecTV Now no more.
Well, that's some bullshit.
They took that off.
Well, that's garbage.
So yeah, we're gonna be end up finding another.
No, you go to the just download the CBS app or the CW app.
You gotta wait till the next day though. She wanted to watch it.
Oh, fucking give me a break. It's free.
Anyway.
Free's free. Deal with it, Mrs. Jam. God.
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't ever wait for the next day. I wait until like 4 or 5 episodes come out, and then I'll watch 4 or 5 episodes. Yeah, then I don't have to worry about it. I mean, you know. But yeah, so that was some news. And look, if you want my idea, you can have it. Okay, my movie idea.
Fuck that.
I'm putting it out there.
No,
It's out there.
Just want to see it made.
As your best friend, I'm saying no.
not
Jonny needs at least to get credit, at least executive producer credit.
Yeah, that'll be fine. You know, created by.
Yeah.
Story
Yeah,
by.
based on story by.
Yeah.
And then also Yeti helped. We got executive. Is there executive or writer?
Shit. What did Yeti do?
We threw in some points in there, so.
Y'all didn't come up with nothing.
I just said I'd fuck a Bigfoot. That's all I did.
Yeah, y'all didn't come up with nothing. I gave you.
And I mean that was pre-existing.
We're a fucking tripod.
That was pre-existing.
Hey, we're a fucking tripod. What happens if one leg's out of it? You're gonna fall on your face.
Exactly.
So yeah,
That's why I'm a bipod. I
Me
walk around on 2 legs, motherfucker.
Me and Yeti can at least get executive producer credit.
I mean, you can. I don't think anybody's going to give it to you.
Well, hey, that's the thing about IMDb. You can put anything on them.
We can adjust it all. But yeah.
Anyways.
I think that's a great idea. Now, it's like I said, you can change the title. Like, you're going to have to. You can't come out with a movie that says Bigfoot Cock Smasher.
Or you could.
Well, you could, yeah. You're right. You could.
Sure you can. Just can't go through MPAA.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
This will, you think, what if Blumhouse wanted it?
Well, then they'd have to pay me.
Motherfuckers, y'all got the money.
Now, but no, well, the problem is they're coming out with fucking Magic 8-Ball. They could pay me for fucking Bigfoot Cock Smasher. And I don't need to ask them. You just give me $10,000 for the script that I don't have.
And if
just the idea.
And if Blumhouse wants it, I don't want an executive producer credit. I want a written apology for the Martyrs remake.
Hey, you're not getting
it. They said, we'd rather give you money.
You're executive producer, bitch.
Hey, what's the name they use for they don't want to be a part of it? What is it?
Alan Smithy.
Yeah. Executive producer, Alan Smithy.
Yeah.
Parentheses, Yeti.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You ain't getting an apology, bitch.
Well, all right, guys. So, gosh dang. Why does it keep doing that?
I think it's headphones.
Yeah. But, all right, guys. So, enjoy our interview with Seth Breedlove. It's going to be after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Seth, if you heard all that, it's a really good interview. None of that had to do with your interview.
What is it?
Just throwing that out there.
What is that disclaimer they put in front of a movie? Like
the opinions,
the views and opinions
that are
expressed in this
do not reflect on Seth Breedlove.
Yeah, for real.
Because he's an awesome guy.
There's the disclaimer.
Yeah, go check out Terrors in the Skies and all of his other movies.
And like you heard in the interview, we'll say it again. He's going to be at the Mothman Festival showing Terror in the Sky.
Yeah. Terror in the Skies.
Plural, sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Y'all enjoy.
We have an Ohio filmmaker from production company in Small Town Monsters. I don't know why I'm stuttering over all this shit, but documentary. He's made many documentaries, and his name is Seth Breedlove. Seth, how are you, man?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Sorry for the shitty introduction.
No, it's okay. If I, the worst thing is when I come on one of these shows and they ask me for my bio, and then they decide they're going to read the whole bio, and I sit there for like 5 minutes because it's too long. I need to cut that thing down by like half.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, which part of the bio am I going to use?
Well,
because I forgot my notepad. Okay, I forgot my notepad. I'll just go ahead and admit it. I usually write everything down that how I'm gonna introduce someone, and I forgot the notepad today. It's like, oh crap, I don't have my thing. But his latest film is Terror in the Skies. His latest documentary. Which we did get to watch, and all of us, and I don't know if Yeti is not here, our other co-host, but we all enjoyed it, man. It was really good, really interesting.
Awesome. Yeah. That's been like one of the, I think the highlights of like releasing this movie was I really expected this one to have an uphill battle out of the gate, just because the subject it's not Bigfoot, and Bigfoot is a well-known topic. Mothman's a pretty well-known topic, and some of the others we've covered have like a built-in audience, and I don't necessarily think that's the case for like flying humanoids and thunderbirds and stuff like that. So it's been awesome, to see that people are actually discovering the movie and enjoying it.
Yeah, it's definitely not the case as far as like you said, being well-known. But I think anyone that's into this type of stuff, the cryptozoology, cryptids, whatever, however anybody wants to word it, is just interested in something new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to find out something new is just like, wow, didn't know this was going on. Like,
yeah, I mean, and honestly, these stories are the ones that I enjoy sort of telling the most, just because with something like Mothman or the Bray Road Beast, you're dealing with the fact that there are already multiple documentaries out about those subjects, and you have to find like a new angle to them. Whereas Terror in the Skies, you don't have to come at it from like how can I put something out that sort of lays out new information. It's all kind of new for most people, so it's a little easier on me as a filmmaker, because I can just kind of focus on the storytelling side of things instead of sort of information dissemination. This makes it a lot easier for me, and also it's just funner to tell. It's funner for me to do the research on something like this, because you're not forced to sort of pick and choose what you're going to use in the film. You can kind of just throw it all out there, because most of it hasn't been seen 100 times by a general sort of audience.
Yeah, I was surprised with it, because like I said, I've heard of the Thunderbirds, like the ancient history of it, or I shouldn't say ancient, but the history of that, and big birds, flying through the air and all this, but I didn't realize that it was more recent. And our other co-host, like I said, Yeti, he mentioned to us, he's like, yeah, I'm never going to Illinois again. Not going to that place.
I mean, we were there. We were actually just there, like a matter of, I think 3 weeks ago. We drove back right through Alton, actually, because we had to drive to Louisiana, Missouri. And the entire time, now that we've made this movie, you kind of find yourself looking to the sky when you're there, like as hokey as that might seem. There is something about that state that seems to invite weirdness in the skies.
And did you go in believing this, or come out believing it? I mean, like when you go and do one of these documentaries, do you?
I don't go.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm pretty skeptical on the approach. Like when I'm approaching it, I'm very, very skeptical. This was one though where I actually, like, during the research end of it, I started thinking there could definitely be a possibility to something like Thunderbirds, just because what people are describing isn't that, it's not that unbelievable. They're essentially describing sort of birds that resemble known birds that happen to be far larger than known birds, and you could definitely have sort of rare cases where some species of bird grows abnormally large, and gigantism obviously exists, and we know that. So I think that could actually explain what's going on in a number of these cases. I wouldn't say I came out like a believer of every subject we covered, but I definitely was much more like open to a lot of it, especially the Thunderbird stuff.
You got a question, or? I don't want to run the whole interview.
Go ahead. I'm on.
Well, Yeti wanted to ask you a question, like, what made you decide to focus on local folklore cryptids?
If we're talking like a general sort of like why I got into small town monster stories, I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and I never got into cryptids and the paranormal until much later in life. Like I was in my mid-20s when I got into it. And so what got me into it and into looking sort of into these subjects for myself was the fact that there were a number of like Bigfoot type sightings near the town that I'd grown up in called Bolivar, Ohio. And they started in the 70s, which I didn't find out till later, but there were sightings in the 70s on this one stretch of road called St. Peter's Church Road. And people were seeing, this hairy something walking on two legs. And then people started finding deer and livestock in trees and in really weird places. And there was a lot of like animal mutilations, strange stuff like that going on. And that sort of captured my attention. And then I came to find out that someone we actually knew who lived on the same road, who was like one of the most believable witnesses I've ever spoken to, claimed that she had been seeing, and her kids, her husband, they all claimed they'd been seeing Bigfoot on their property for decades. And this wasn't like one person telling us this. This was a whole family of people, very believable witnesses. He was actually like a DA, like a district attorney.
Oh, wow.
And they were like insistent that like they knew they were there. They lived in these caves on their property. They knew where they went. They've been seeing them. So that was like the first time where I really started thinking, okay, maybe there is something to these subjects beyond just fun stories, cool stories. And then I started looking into it for myself and talking to witnesses and things like that. And everything sort of snowballed from there. And eventually we made Minerva Monster, and Small Town Monsters kind of took off from there.
Do you think there is any connection between cryptids and aliens?
I mean, there's definitely a connection just because of the fact that people claim to have witnessed, the phenomena that seem to be alien or extraterrestrial, in conjunction with, Bigfoot or whatever kind of cryptid. I mean, I even think in Terror in the Skies, there's like a quick mention of alien, like people seeing UFOs and Thunderbirds together. So you can't do I personally believe that there's a connection between like UFOs and some of these subjects? I don't necessarily think that is the case. But that's not to say there aren't a number of these reports that exist that seem to be of, both phenomenon sort of existing in harmony. It's always weird. I mean, we made a whole movie, Invasion on Chestnut Ridge, that really gets into some of the weirder side of like Bigfoot reports where people are seeing, UFOs and Bigfoots coming out of UFOs or going into UFOs or seemingly coming out of like portals in the woods and things like that. And, for a lot of people, it creates some serious problems for them. Like they're pretty closed off to that idea. And so it's a weird subject to cover in our films, but we do cover it. Personally, I don't necessarily draw a connection between Thunderbirds or like some of the other winged cryptids and like UFOs, but there are phenomena that seem to have roots in that, like in it more. I guess what I'm saying is there's cryptozoological phenomena that have roots in what you would sort of quantify as paranormal or supernatural activity rather than something that's an unknown animal. Like the Bray Road Beast seems to be like the perfect example of that, because it's like the case is so weird. The Bray Road case is so strange, and it's got so many strange aspects, and it seems to have some sort of roots in like demonic activity and sacrifices happening in the woods. And there's like a ranch near Elkhorn where the guy that owns the ranch has been seeing dogmen and like UFOs in conjunction with one another, which is really weird. So yeah, the short answer is it depends on the subject we're talking about, but for the most part, I do not connect the two.
Well, You had mentioned, well, I don't know if you did, but in the Terror in the Skies, it was brought up that some hoaxes could possibly be done to make believers look less credible. Do you think that's true? Like, do you think there's a bigger, I don't know if you'd say the government or some other faction or whatever trying to cover that up?
Yeah, I think what you're referencing is Alison Jornlin, I think, at one point posits that maybe sightings of the Chicago Mothman could be organized by someone as a hoax to sort of throw people off of actual sightings of winged, some sort of winged cryptid or something like that in the state. Like that's definitely something that people discuss. That was actually the first time I've ever heard someone say that about one of these stories, though, where they're actually sort of throwing the idea out there that people are creating the hoax because there is an actual, cryptid or paranormal thing that's happening, and they're trying to throw people off the scent. It's kind of a strange idea, but I think in the movie there's a lot of strange ideas that are sort of put forth, and you can kind of sift through them and pick and choose, what you want to accept or throw away. But I'm not closed off to that idea just because I know that that's something that's happened in like ufology in the UFO world before. Like the Air Force has organized hoaxes to throw people off of actual, UFO cases. And that's pretty well documented. I mean, we know that sort of thing has happened multiple times. So, it could definitely be sort of one of the theories that we could accept regarding, winged cryptids, and especially the Chicago Mothman, just because that Chicago case is so strange because it's happening in a very populated area, and there's so many people that are there. There's so many sightings. You're talking 70 plus sightings that have happened since 2017 of this winged cryptid. The problem with the Chicago sightings, though, is the fact that, a lot of these cases we have known witnesses. We have their names. We know what they claim to have seen. In the case of the Chicago flap, most of the sighting witnesses are anonymous. So we don't actually, there's no way to really verify stories and things like that, at least not on our end. We kind of have to go off the word of the investigators or researchers who are putting these stories out there.
Well, that's what like you brought up the government covering up stuff like UFOs, but what if the government was working with like large birds? You know what I'm saying? Like created these larger birds to like do stuff. You never know. And then they create some other hoax. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the like fun aspects of these subjects that
go
you
down
can kind of
hole.
like. Yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole, trying to figure out.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it just made me think about that. Like what if? But that, like I said, that's a big what if.
I was wanting. There was one story in there because you have to use animation because you're not gonna have the actual video or whatever the stories in there. There was a one of what looked like a pterodactyl to me.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that cryptid called?
There's so for the first like third of the movie, it's kind of focused on thunderbirds, but then it gets into pterodactyl type creatures. I don't think there's actually like a name. I think it's South America. They call them the ropen, but that's a little different from what people are describing in Illinois and Pennsylvania, by the way. Like sightings of pterodactyl type birds are actually a pretty large scale phenomenon that's been seen across the United States, going all the way back to the 1800s. There were a lot of reports of pterodactyls in the Old West. So that's actually nothing new. This has been going on for a very long time. But yeah, Kyle Danhausen, I think this is what you're referencing, was the hunter who was hunting a ditch in central Illinois, and him and a buddy saw a large pterodactyl type bird fly over them while they were hunting this ditch. The interesting thing about his description is he saw it as sort of a large feathered bird. He thinks it was feathered. He couldn't actually distinguish feathers, but he believes it was feathered. But he also thought it was leathery. And then he talked about that sort of the hood or bill that kind of came off the back of its head, almost like a sail or something like that. And that's where the pterodactyl account sort of comes into play. And what he's describing is something that's been described, all across the United States. In fact, we covered a sighting of something similar in our film Invasion on Chestnut Ridge, which is Pennsylvania. That's actually north or southwestern Pennsylvania. Those pterodactyl type reports are fairly common. I would actually say that these days the pterodactyl reports are more common than something like a thunderbird, especially when you move out to like the West, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. Those states all have a large number of these reports of like pterodactyl type creatures.
Wow, that would be pretty nuts to see what you always seen in school as like dinosaurs, and actually see it flying above you.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I would think I'm high or something.
Well, like you said in this documentary, that there was a certain bird that was had a 20-foot wingspan, but it's extinct right now, correct?
Yeah, the Territorn.
The Territorn.
Which would have been.
I could not think of what.
Yeah, the Territorn was sort of a massive, and I believe they were. I don't want to speak out of turn. I feel like that someone mentioned they might have been like a condor or something like that. That's obviously the reason that comes into play, the reason the condor thing comes into play is that so in 1977 in Lawndale, Illinois, there was a really famous case that actually eventually hit the media and went sort of national, became a viral quote unquote sensation at the time in the 70s. And that was a case that happened in Lawndale, Illinois, when this little boy was picked up and carried through his yard about 50 feet by some sort of large bird that resembled, according to him and all the other witnesses that were present, resembled an Andean condor. And the Andean condor obviously does not exist in Illinois. So I think the idea is that, from a cryptozoological perspective, what you might be looking at is some sort of existing form of a Territorn. And of course, like when you I guess throw out these ideas or theories like that, the hard part then becomes, well, how do they exist? Where are they managing to stay hidden? In a state like Illinois. But having said that, once you go down to southern Illinois, which is where Alton is, that is a location where something could easily stay hidden because of the bluffs and the caves along the bluffs. If you had an animal, a large bird that wanted to build a nest, you couldn't have a better location than southern Illinois, actually, because that's actually where a lot of eagles, large numbers of eagles actually nest in those bluffs along the Mississippi and Illinois rivers down there. And one of the weirder things about southern Illinois, and especially the Mississippi River Valley, is that it's sort of defined by birds because of the bluffs, because of the river, because of the wildlife. There are a massive number of birds in that particular area. They have wildlife refuges sort of set up specifically for birds and bald eagles, especially. You'll see a ton of bald eagles down there. And maybe that plays into why Illinois has become kind of known for strange things existing in the sky. And there's reports from Illinois and Missouri, that Mississippi River Valley, that there are reports going all the way back to the 1800s. Obviously, we discuss in the movie the case from Missouri from the early 1900s when there was a little boy who was supposedly picked up and carried away by a giant eagle. And that story was verified and was in a newspaper. Now, whether or not that makes it true, we're not sure, but it was definitely an existent story. Like, that was a real story. They talked to actual witnesses and things like that to publish that story. But there's also another story from Central Illinois from the late 1800s that we didn't come across until after Terror in the Skies was out. That's actually really similar to that story about the little boy being carried off by the eagle. And again, it involves a massive bird taking away a little girl. So those stories exist in Illinois and have existed there for, decades, if not centuries, which is really kind of curious in itself. But, whether you want to subscribe to the sort of like it's an unknown type of extinct bird that somehow has managed to survive, or if you believe it's some sort of like an Andean condor that for some reason is here, or if you're more into the paranormal side of things, or if you just think the whole thing is sort of a hoax, like that's obviously a lot of people believe that too. So as far as like rabbit trails to go down and different theories to explore, this subject is like wide open to interpretation by newbies, by people like me.
I was curious, you've done all this, all these documentaries and all this research and stuff. Have you yourself encountered any cryptids or anything like that?
Like we've spoken to, we actually, during the making of Terror in the Skies, we spoke to a person who had claimed a sighting of a large bird just a week prior, which, for me was like frustrating because we were there a week later and never actually witnessed anything when it came to large birds. But I haven't really encountered a lot for myself. When I was making On the Trail of Bigfoot, we went to the Ouachita Mountains in Oklahoma, and in like 2.5 days, we experienced a lot of really weird, Bigfoot possible activity, rock throws and things screaming at us at night, and a lot of like strange activity like that. But I have yet to actually like see something for myself, which is frustrating in a way, and at the same time, I'm not sure if it would make any difference. Like at the end of the day, I just love these stories and the getting to tell stories about these encounters and things like that, and all the different subjects that we get to delve into. That's for me a win, sort of, whether or not I ever actually see anything for myself. I can't really think of a better subject to sort of while away your days exploring. And I think Terror in the Skies especially is sort of a homage to undiscovered, creatures and unexplained mysteries and things like that. So no, the short answer is no. I have yet to actually see something for myself, but maybe eventually.
Yeah, I would. I don't know how I would react if I actually saw Bigfoot. I'd probably shit myself, piss myself, and all that good stuff.
Run into a tree.
Yeah.
Turn around. Oh my God! Bam! Ugh.
And then turn out it's just a big bush or something. But anyways, earlier I was talking about Mothman, but this is not the Chicago Mothman I'm talking about. The one from Point Pleasant. Have you ever attended or been to the Mothman Festival?
Yeah, we've been there the last 4 years now, and we'll be there again. We're actually showing Terror in the Skies at this year's Mothman Festival. We do their opening Friday night kickoff event at the State Theater. In the last 3 years, we've shown a bunch of our movies, and tons of people come in. We pack the theater out, even though the theater has no air conditioning, and everyone gets to sit there and boil together and watch our movies as they sweat profusely. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's one of our favorite events to take part in, and it's one of the ones where I can always manage to drag some of the STM crew along with us. So yeah, if any of your listeners are in that West Virginia area, come see us, because usually most of the crew are there. It's a lot of fun.
Well, the reason I was speaking on that is because my wife actually wants to take my kids, or we want to take my kids to this. So if everything works out, we will be there. Me and my wife and kids.
Awesome.
I might be able to drag Jonny with us. I don't know.
Maybe. That's if I got any money.
But
Well, it's free. You can't even use that excuse. It's free.
Oh, I got you there.
Thanks, Seth. I appreciate your help, buddy.
We can go sweat with us and watch
extended family vacation. No. I have a question. Would you consider yourself as like a historian of these stories? Because I mean, in the future, you know how stories get passed down. Well, before it was,
Sure.
They wrote on cave walls, they wrote on paper, and then all that, eventually degrades. But like movies, have the possibility to last longer. These stories do.
Sure. I mean, it's actually the movie sort of addresses that in a way. Like the final two quotes in the movie are from Tobias Whalen and Troy Taylor, and Troy Taylor talks about how he sees what he does, which is writing books about these subjects. How he sees what he does as that, like building a historical database about these encounters. And Tobias makes the statement that whether you believe in the factual reality of Mothman or Thunderbirds or any of it, it's irrelevant. Like the important thing is that the stories are being told and that people are documenting what people have claimed over the years. So yeah, I do see what we do as more historically based than like cryptid based or cryptozoology, because we're not out to sort of prove that any of this is real. Our main goal is to sort of just put down what people are saying in their own words on camera, get that down on camera. And just like Troy writes it in a book, like we're making a movie about it. So it's similar. I think both have their place. And there's definitely a historical component to it. And that's one of the reasons that I enjoy, what we do.
You got a question?
I was just gonna say it was while people are there, do they do like, I don't know what to say, expeditions, but do they actually go out and do like Mothman hunts and stuff?
At the festival?
Yeah, if you're there, you can actually go. You would get to. So they do a few different things. There's like guided walking tours of like the TNT area and the abandoned armament facilities, which I really suggest. And then they do like a hayride that goes through the entire TNT area as well. And I think there might be something else that they do as well. But I would strongly recommend doing all of those things. And I think you can actually sign up for some of those in advance online, which I always recommend because that stuff sells out really fast. So as much of that as you can handle, I would recommend doing.
Wow, so obviously you probably done that, right? You probably done those.
I have not done those because I've been through the TNT area so many times by myself or with my crew that I've sort of experienced everything there is to see there, including like we actually filmed a Japanese television show 2 years ago we were on in the TNT area, and we spent like 5 nights sleeping out there. So I've lived it. I'm good. I don't need the hayride.
Yeah. Let me ask you, is it difficult to get people's statements on camera, like the witnesses, eyewitness reports? Like,
that's the hardest aspect of what we do. Like if it wasn't for that, I would love every aspect of filmmaking, but unfortunately, you really do have to convince a lot of these people to tell their story, and understandably so, because the ridicule factor associated with coming forward with a sighting is so high. That you really have to convince people that you're not out to sort of make fun of them or make a quick buck off them, that you really just want to get their story down and hear it from their own mouth, rather than having some author or someone like that tell their story for them, which, you know, ironically, you actually see that happen in Terror in the Skies, because we did not manage to get Marlon Lowe's story, you know, directly from him. So you have Lauren and Troy Taylor telling his story on his behalf. I always want to have the actual witness tell their story rather than someone else doing it for them, whenever possible. But yeah, it's very difficult. It's by far the most difficult part of making the movies.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because when you had them telling the story, I was like, well, I guess they couldn't. It's difficult to get other people to actually come forward. You had the one eyewitness, and I don't think there was any other eyewitnesses on there, correct?
There's two. There's
okay.
Jeff Byers, who had the encounter while he was driving late at night, and then Kyle Danhausen, who was the hunter.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Correct. Yeah, I was thinking of just the one that's, like you said, he was driving.
Yeah.
But Seth, man, we appreciate you coming on. We don't want to keep you too long. You know, it's about 35 minutes. But what are you doing next that you would like to try to promote, or tell people where they can get your movies? How about that?
Yeah, we're working on Momo the Missouri Monster, which is sort of our love letter to grindhouse movies from the 70s. The first trailer for that should actually be dropping next week, along with the press release. But people are going to want to see that one, especially like horror fans, because it's such a, like I said, it's a nod to like 1970s grindhouse and drive-in movies. It's going to be a lot of fun. The website is smalltownmonsters.com or onthetrailof.tv. We do an episodic miniseries each year that's much more of like an investigative look into these subjects rather than sort of a cinematic retelling. And On the Trail of UFOs, which is our next On the Trail of series, starts filming in 3.5 weeks.
Awesome, man. I look forward to seeing them.
Well, as you we already get from Justin, right?
Yeah.
Well, as soon as we get a press release, we'll have it up for your next
adventure.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
thanks, guys.
And yeah, thank you so much, and we enjoy your work and can't wait to see more.
Cool. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, Seth.
You too. Thanks.
All right, guys. So that was Seth Breedlove. Like you said, go check his website, smalltownmonsters.com and onthetrail.com, correct?
Yep.
And go if you're into cryptids and all that stuff. Like, Terror from the Skies is really interesting to me. If you like documentaries, and you'll really enjoy it. It's just the tell of the stories, and just I didn't know anything about it. And Seth's a really nice guy. It's so cool to be able to talk to him.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Very informative.
Yep, and make sure you go look out for the new Tennessee Horror, TN Horror on the Road, or THN on the Road. Deadlines Part 2. There might be a Part 3 coming out. You never know. By the time this is up, maybe not. Who knows? Well, I mean, if we go this weekend, but yeah. So make sure you check that out, and go subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit us up. TN Horror News, everywhere stuff.
Hell yeah.
And we appreciate y'all listening, and thank y'all a lot.
Yep.
So, is that all we got, JimJam?
Yep. That's all we got, y'all. We out.
Peace. Spooky. Try not to be in that, though. I'm not your daddy. Or maybe I am. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that interview and enjoyed some of the news in my movie idea. Just throwing it out there. And
Blumhouse presents Bigfoot Cock Smasher.
Yeah. And as always, go hit up our YouTube channel and subscribe. And
the
stuff.
hill to 500.
Yeah. Well, the stroll to 500, because it's a fucking stroll. And then maybe we can walk to 1,000.
Well, it's the crawl to 500.
Yeah, crawl to 500. Hopefully walk to 1,000. I mean, share us with your friends. Share us with your friends. If you like what we do, share us with your friends.
Don't be ashamed that you listen to us.
Look, we come up with the fuck... Now, never mind. If you share this episode with your friends, and then they'll be like, this motherfucker listens to people that talk about Bigfoot Cock Smashers. Yes, share us with your friends. They deserve to hear that.
Yes.
Your friends deserve to hear that. And your enemies do too.
Hey, hey, go support us on Patreon too. Thank you.
Yeah, and go follow us on all of our stuff, T and Horror News.
Yeah, buddy.
And go listen to It's a Horror Podcast when you're done with this one.
And also, good. There's a shout out in there for old Craig and Jeff.
What's that?
Half-assed Horrorcast.
Where's the shout out?
And Bigfoot Cock Smasher.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You said Craig
I don't know why you had to say it.
Here's a shout out for Half-assed Horrorcast. Check them out. They're awesome.
Yeah. And go check out us, THN on the Road, Deadlines 2.
Hell yeah.
It's out, and there could be a Deadlines 3 sometime, and yeah. Go follow them on Facebook, too, Deadlines.
Yep. THN on the Road.
Yep.
And that's all we got. We out.
Peace.
Hail Satan, send nudes.
Ah!